So I've returned with a much more crisp and clear presentation. Initially, my microphone felt like it was about 30 miles away from me, but now, thanks to this phenomenal professional microphone stand from Samsung, the cheat codes will be in OP mode. That's all I can tell you. I will be getting a pop filter because I don't want too many moments to dominate this podcast. But I really must admit that I don't know. I guess it's because I'm so used to just doing something and letting it be what it is, that this is just giving me more excitement to really look to get everyone on board and to understand like there's nothing but greater things ahead. Welcome back for those who are my continued listeners. I do appreciate you all coming back to listen. For those of you all, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is the BT Podcast. I am your host, your one and only BT, B Taylor, B Town, however you want to call it. I've literally just enjoyed doing this. And initially when I was doing it, I didn't realize what it would become. But all I can constantly say is that I truly and honestly love it. So one of my friends gave me a pretty good idea. So I'm kind of going to work this as being a 2-for-1. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and do a review on my new mic stand. Kind of give a few details without going too over the top, but also make it enjoyable that you'll understand the advantages to having this compared to what I was initially using for my microphone. So to give most of my listeners a little bit of history, nearly a year ago, I did my first podcast, and I had bought my microphone, went on Amazon, found a nice microphone. I was like, ooh, I got my mic. I can, start doing podcasts, might do some live streams, stuff like that. And I bought the mic, and the mic had, it was a good sound, but it wasn't what I wanted at the time. So now I've taken some time and did a lot of research and found out what I needed. First thing I bought, which I'm using for this mic now, are just some windscreens. Basically, windscreens are basically what you use anytime you see people at a performance or talking on a microphone. Is always like the color mics. Random tip or random fact that a lot of people don't know is that they actually make in certain, locations, such as let's say at church or concerts or wherever there are performances. And I'll go ahead and apologize now if you do hear any sounds or noise in the background. Just take it for what it is. Don't acknowledge it. Just I'm just gonna let the show roll. I'm hoping to get all of that changed and adjusted because it's gonna come with time. But going back to what I was stating, that they'll have microphones set at certain volumes or certain levels for certain people as to how they sing or how they talk, because some people talk louder than others. Some can kind of just breathe on the mic and you can hear them and stuff like that. So something to just think about when you're looking at anytime you go somewhere and you see those little windscreens that are in different colors. Like I bought a set that came in like multiple colors. I probably talked about this in one of my previous podcasts, and if I have, then hey, for the new kids, this will be your first time hearing about it. So today I'm using a yellow cover, just a little bit louder, a little bit different, and you know me, I'm loving it, hooked on it. But anyway, I've been using just a basic 3-leg stand that came on the microphone itself. And I've been doing a lot of research and saying, what can I do to make this podcast sound or feel more at home? And I went online, didn't know it until I found out that it exists. I went ahead and bought an actual microphone stand. Now, a lot of people will probably say you probably paid about $70 or $80 for a microphone stand. Believe it or not, I got this microphone stand from eBay. I was almost ready to say Amazon. From eBay for $20. And the coincidental part is it's just as legit and equivalent to using an everyday stand that you see in most of your venues. And the one thing that I like about it the most is that it has a 2-for-1 feature, which means I can use it with my microphone that I bought, which is the Samsung Meteor. It looks like a retro microphone. If you haven't already, or if I do remember, I can go and show a picture to everyone so they can see and remember or know what it looks like. But I can adjust this stand, which is kind of fun, and that's kind of new for me. So I'm adjusting to that as well. And it's like I said, it's just literally its own stand. And I took the legs off of the original microphone, and now I'm using this stand to represent my actual presentation. So whenever I talk on it, you're gonna hear me, it's not gonna sound like I'm from a distance. So it's like, well, Brian, why we can hardly hear you? Are you there? Are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Anyway, I would do the Annie, are you okay insider, but some of y'all might miss it. But anyway, this just couldn't have came at a better time. So I'm just glad that I can literally take my skill or my talent to another level. So I'm kind of like, I guess it was a 2-for-1 because I'm kind of using this as an opportunity to talk about the microphone, the history of my microphone, as well as talk about my stand, because one of my friends gave a good idea. So I'm going to use this podcast as kind of as a dual based purpose. And it's going to be because this is, as I've told everyone, I do have a schedule that I'm implementing, and that schedule will consist of my grab bag, my music and my music and gaming, and my sports. If you haven't had a chance listening for my podcast about the sports, I believe I got most of what occurred right. I don't remember. I know I had Carolina winning barely, but hey, they won, so it is what it is. Anyway, to kind of give a lightened review about this stand, for what it's used for, it's a very reliable stand. You mainly need it to listen to it's the purpose of it is to hold the microphone. I don't have to look around and make sure I'm close enough to the microphone. It's literally not going to move anywhere. It's not like a performance microphone that you need to adjust it to certain locations. It sits in one place. You can, it has, from what I can look at, it has 3, possibly 4 forms of adjusting it as far as like height or for its intended purpose. Because the microphone itself, like I'm using it for a podcast. I've used mine for live streaming and it's excellent. But it also can be used as a, like if you wanted to use, let's say you had the microphone and you wanted to play some music, it literally, you just let it sit and it's not going anywhere. It's not a stand that you need to lean up on and move. No, this is not that stand. That's not what this is about. And as I usually pick what some of my friends are saying, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But anyway, the stand itself is just, it comes at the right time for what I'm trying to do and what I have planned. I truly and honestly was in limbo because initially when I did this podcast, I picked up the video game magazine for Game Informer or for GameStop, and they were talking about different games. Of course, the obvious game that's been talked about is The Witcher 3, which I have yet to play. I've seen it played, but of course I'm not going to talk about that too much in depth since it is not a gaming podcast tonight. This is going to be about my grab bag. So the first part of the grab bag was to give you a little bit of an oversight or review of the new microphone stand. I do have a pop filter coming in. I know it might sound weird, but I paid a little bit more to get the pop filter that I wanted. A few of my friends know why, and you'll hopefully once it comes in, I'll show pictures and share with everyone why I preferred what I chose. Anybody who knows me and knows what I like and how I'm about will understand. I just couldn't resist. So I went ahead and got what I wanted, and that's the end of that. So, I truly would say that this is a very enjoyable microphone stand that I just can easily see myself like folding together and just packing in the bag and saying, "Hey, about to set up doing a podcast. Who down?" I've already kind of presented the idea, and it looks like we will probably be doing it. Don't know how it's gonna go, but we're gonna try to do some podcasts or a few episodes while I'm out of town. I don't want to tell too much of that too early because I just want to ease folks into that, because that's kind of like a high point for me that I'm looking forward to. So that's my assessment. I think this is a good stand for what it's used for. The feature that I like the most about it that I forgot to mention. So the microphone that I originally bought, like I said, I took the legs off and it basically was by itself. You can screw this microphone onto this stand. So you have that option, but the stand itself also works as a stand for just regular, any regular microphone that you need to put on the stand. You can sit it in place of where the microphone is now, and you can actually place a regular microphone on this stand and use it just as you would any other microphone. So for me, that feature made this a worthwhile buy. Excuse me. So that's my overall assessment or observation of this stand. And if you want more details or more understanding about it, like I said, just talk to me and I'll try to tell you what I do know or what I can possibly try to, break down in regards to it. All I can say is that I just know I'm going to be addicted to what's going to be going down with these posts. So I have gone ahead and given you all like a brief overview. Now I have a few, I did like multiple topics that it looks like I have coming up or that I wanted to jump into. But the main topic that I can kind of do as my first grab bag topic and my first discussion is finding your niche and sticking to it. And this is going to be probably a good amount of this podcast that I'm going to talk about this, because we have skills and we have talents and we have knowledge, but our worry and our concern is, how do we think others are going to perceive what we're doing? Like, are they going to like it? Are they going to hate it? We're doing it more for others and doing it less for ourselves. And I've learned over time, first and foremost, regardless of what you do or don't do, you can't make everyone happy. I find it funny because I'm doing this topic, and initially when I'm going to let everybody know this early so you all can understand. These topics that I've written out, a lot of them will be improv, but my plan to really get this ball rolling with doing my podcast is to make sure that when I step up to the mic, it's like, hey, look, I'm ready. I'm down. We got this article. We go talk about this. We go talk about this. We go do this. I don't want to just come up here and say, hey, I'm gonna just talk about some stuff, and for about 5 minutes, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip, because you can shoot from the hip and it can go either horribly wrong or excellently well. Don't ask me how those two go together, but that's neither here nor there. But I just truly want to make people aware that if you have a skill or if you have something that you're capable of doing, don't let anything or anyone stop you from doing it. I've had people who I know who have mentioned on occasion that they want to go back to school. I have people who are in school and are going to complete school because they know what they're trying to do. For me personally, I know at one time I was trying to get back into going for my master's. I really sat back and I thought about it and realized I don't want to push in a direction that may or may not work if there's something else that I'm really intended to do. Right now, with banking going the way it has, it's been a simpler, fluid flow of a process that I never would have expected to go the way it has, but here we are. It's taught me a lot of things. I went through a little bit of a rough edge today with some personal stuff, but it didn't deter me too much from what I wanted to get accomplished, or where my mind is, because I know we never get it right all the time, but as long as we're getting it right where it matters, then that's what counts most in the end. And sometimes we don't see that or don't look at it as such, but we're forced to open our minds. So this is a twofold presentation of how I'm going to discuss this. Words, they're there, but they're not coming out. So hopefully they'll come together. There's the part of us who wants what we want, but then it's the part of us who misses the portion of realizing that we have to work to get whatever we're trying to go after. There are goals, there are dreams, there are plans, but the toughest part is doing something without a plan. I'm not gonna be cute or pretty in anything that I'm gonna say in this topic, because I've seen and noticed skills and talents either go to waste or just not be addressed because we don't utilize or observe what we're actually capable of. It's almost like we're afraid that if we do something better or expand our mind in something that we're not used to, that either one, we might actually enjoy it, or two, we're that worried that if we fall on our face, there's going to be this reaction of, well, how's everybody going to feel if I do this or it doesn't work out right? That's why it's called being human. You have a talent, you have a skill. No one's saying that you got to run out here and do all 10 of them at one time. That's the mistake that a lot of people make too. I've used this analogy or this concept on numerous occasions, and I'm going to use it today as well. And that is, if there ever was a choice between putting 100% into one thing or 10% into 10 things, we as people are guilty of doing the latter, which we multitask and we do all these things and we're looking for these results and we want these answers, but we're not putting full effort into one thing and showing that one thing how much we care about doing it. Like for me, guilty, not backing down, have no shame in saying it. I really and truly believe doing these podcasts is going to be one of the best things for me to get me a little bit more out of my comfort zone, because I've been stuck in this comfort zone or in this mindset of, oh, I'm just going to do this and I'll be okay. But in reality, there's more that I should be doing. And I've been told, and I am really pushing to do it, which is to start doing public speaking and motivational speaking. So far, I've taken it the simple route, and I've mentioned this before in podcasts. I've gone that route of sending morning motivation to people. That's cool. That's fine. But as far as carrying it to that next level, that's what I want to do now by talking to people who don't know how to deal with certain things in life on their own. Not trying to fight every battle on their own. So I'm saying all of this to my listeners and to those who are checking this out on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you find this. If you have a skill, don't hold it. Somebody may need the skill that you have to help them either do what they think they're capable of doing, or it may be able to just help them in general with something that they may need. So that's kind of like my main focus or my primary purpose of writing this, or writing shows how much I'm a blogger. That's my main purpose in what I'm wanting to speak about today, and just getting folks to, I've mentioned this on numerous occasions, but it's I wanted to kind of sink and really settle in your mind to understand, hey, if you just take that second or two and just get out of your way and do it, you just might surprise yourself as to what you're capable of getting accomplished. And that's kind of the main topic, or the main piece that I wanted to kind of get into people's minds today, is just don't be your worst enemy. It's never a bad thing to be a hard critic on yourself. But when you don't give yourself a chance or give yourself the benefit of the doubt, it will show in your end result. So I'm really wanting people to just take that time or that moment to just let whatever skill or niche or gift they have to be presented to the world. Because if you don't do it now, no one will never know that you're capable of doing it. Like I said, 5 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be sitting here doing podcasts. I've heard about them. I would hear people mention it. I've kind of attempted to listen to them. I listen to Shaq's podcast. Not gonna lie, kind of fan of it. Haven't been able to jump back on to listen to them again because they take up a lot of space on my computer. So just, if you got something you're good at, do it. And don't let anybody stop you from doing it. Because if you don't do it now, you'll never get it done. So that's what I'm going to leave you all with tonight. I hope you all enjoyed listening. If you do have any feedback or suggestions, leave comments here. Like I said, these are posted on Spreaker. They are on SoundCloud, and they are on my YouTube channel. I also have these posted on Facebook as well as on my Twitter page. There's not a piece of social media that I'm not sharing this information on. And my next level, if I have not done so already, is to make sure that these post on Tumblr, because I know that somebody needs to listen, or somebody may need that message to understand. If you have a skill, if you have a gift, do it. Don't stop yourself from doing something that you might have been meant to do all along, and were just afraid to do it because you didn't know what the outcome would be. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed listening. And until next time, this is BT signing out. Peace.